Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for game 2 between SGP Femm and Finesse Empress. And once again, a big shout out to official partners. We have Dreamcore, and we also have Super Solid and Yahoo TV. So shout out to these guys for supporting the event. Without them, this would have possible. Obviously, a shout out to you guys as well. But without further ado, I think the draft is already underway. So let's just jump straight into it. So there we have it, the draft. And at this point, we have Finesse Empress leading the charge with one game in hand. They're gonna ban out the Tamus as well as the Hylos, and so they're sticking to their guns now. They really want to remove heroes that are really tanky, which is kind of viable, or rather kind of visible in their game 1, where you could see they were trying to remove a lot of these heroes that had a lot of sustain or were tanky to the lineup. Heroes like the Uranus. And I assume that they're going to go similar to what they had in game 1. So I'm not sure if they're going to go with this double carry again. Because it's a really high tier strat. And you're going to see a lot of these high tier mythic players play that way. So I think Finesse Empress are doing an absolute fantastic job. They forced SGP Femm to ban both the Bruno as well as the Kaja. Although Finesse Empress hasn't really shown that they were going for that. So Finesse Empress are able to pick up the Uranus for themselves. So I think this is what they have always been wanting to go for, and they recognize the threat of Uranus, hence why they ban out the Uranus in game 1. And they will pick up the Uranus for themselves. SGP Femm, they have to settle for the carry. They go for the Buxer as well. So they're sticking to the guns. They're sticking to what they know best, which is the Buxer as the front line. Ooh, but a bit of a misplay from SGP Femm, or rather overlook. In fact, they give the Claude away. I would have preferred to ban the Claude over the Bruno and kind of give the Bruno away. I think Bruno is less of a threat to the Claude, especially in how Finesse Empress play and how scary the scaling is. But that being said, in the first game, as Finesse Empress were playing this late game comp where they had 2 MMs, they were playing this like really bursty combo towards the late stage where Popo and Koopa could ramp up the damage. So I think they're looking to pick up either a Granger or a Popo and Koopa. I think both works in their favor. Popo and Koopa definitely will work to drive a lot more. SGP Fan, they choose to ban out Angela. Questionable ban. I think banning out the Popo and Koopa would have been better, given that Finesse Empress have really shown that this is the way that they want to play. They want to pick up the double they want to go for that bursty combo late game. And I don't know, I feel like the Angela is just a bit of a weird ban. But SGP Fan, wow, okay, hats off to them. They pick up the S Murder, and they also pick up the Popo and Koopa for themselves. So I didn't really take that into consideration. That's a bet on my part. I didn't really think that SGP Fan were going to play that way as well. So that draft looks pretty decent. I think for this Empress, they should lock in the Kufra as well as the Valor. I mean, Selena's open as well. They can kind of pick the Selena out to catch out both the carry, or even catch out the Esmeralda for the matter of fact, because Esmeralda will only be effective if she's able to pull off her skills, and if the Abyssal Arrow kind of lands on her, then I think that's pretty much it. Esmeralda is not really the tankiest hero if she's not able to kind of use her Star Moon Cascade or even the Star Moon Dance. So I think that is where the threat, or rather the downside of picking out Esmeralda is. But they decide to go with it, which is fine. And they also pick up the Farsa. Okay, I like this combo coming with SGP. I think it looks a lot stronger as compared to game 1, where they were banking a lot on the Lilia to carry the opening stage of the game, but they were not able to transit. Like, having only the Bruno wasn't able to kind of push Finesse Empress draft back, and so that was what they kind of struggled with. But yeah, I think this draft, in a sense, looks really scary for SGP Femm. If they can go into late game, they have so much burst damage. Esmeralda, she's gonna build into more defense. I've seen Esmeralda build into brute force armor, which is also viable. That's the thing about Esmeralda. She's now fitted into this role where you can build a lot of items on her. She's really flexible. You can play with some mage if you want to. Fighters is good as well on the off lane. And worst come to worst, you just play all at just this tank to soak up all the damage for you.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed!
And remember, this is game 2 between SGP Femm and none other than Finesse Empress. A bit of a delay there. Had to think carefully. But you know, Finesse Empress looking really strong in game 1. That was kind of a given how they were really happy with the draft. They got most of the things going their way. They did manage to fend off SGP Femm in the opening stages with the Lilia, but you know, for the most part, I think Finesse Empress did a good job at holding their opponents back. And now we're going to game 2. Remember, this is a best of 3 series, so if SGP Femm lose this game, they're out. And we're gonna see Finesse Empress proceed into the next bracket of the tournament. But I'm sure that we'll be hoping to go to game 3, or at least I'm hoping to go to game 3. Remember, whether it's these 2 teams you're supporting or you're supporting any other team that you know that's in this tournament itself, always comment in the section below, or you can comment on the right, left, up, down, wherever, depending on which platform you're watching on, and you know, I'll be sure to read them. But now Joey almost going down. The fireball shot's nearly picking her up, and they nearly pick up first blood as well. But now Nika running up against a Claude that's really low. They want to go for her. Good use of Claude's second skill as well to get out of trouble. And now it looks like they want to turn this fight around. Uranus dropping really low. Krufa going to jump in time with Tyrant's Rage, and he's going to use that magic ball as well. And look at that, they managed to turn the fight around. Wings with the fireball shots as well to chase her opponents away. So with that, no casualties there from either side. You know, a bit of a threat with the burst fireball, but not really coming to any of the kills there. And this is what I love about Popo and Koopa. I think, you know, Popo and Koopa is just a really interesting hero to have in your lineup. And you know, she's definitely gonna be very comfortable in the bottom lane. Don't really need to be pressurized because she's got the traps, and you know, she can kind of spot if anyone wants to come for her. Meanwhile, we do see the rest of the team, or both teams, just gonna go back to farming. You do see Jawhead trying to apply a bit of pressure with the smart missiles. But Ray's a little bit too smart for that. But I think, you know, Ring Go Away did manage to burn the flicker away from the Popo and Koopa, so that is still a remarkable feat. You know, you do manage to take away this like huge cooldown on the side of SGP Femm, and now you know Ray, she will have to play a lot more passive. You know, she can't really afford to overstep her boundaries because there's always this imminent threat of a Jawhead that's gonna jump onto her with the unstoppable force. She's already level 5, so you know, really good choice there. And obviously, if a team fight happens in the next 60 seconds, that's gonna make Ray really vulnerable as well because she doesn't really have the flicker. But now it looks like both teams are preparing for this turtle fight. They obviously want the turtle magic ball onto the Farsa, but no follow-up action there. They didn't even really land the Tyrant's Rage, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue for the most part. So it looks like we're gonna see a pause from the teams. I think that's fine. You know, they want to go for a little bit for a pause, but I think, you know, we are looking at a transition now. We're gonna see Empress play a lot quicker because they know the threat that SGP Femm poses, but they have the Claude in their hand, so they're definitely gonna score a lot better into the late game. But SGP Femm still has that, you know, overlooming threat of that double MM draft. You know, they still have this little bit of that, you know, burst damage if Finesse Empress are not too careful. So it really comes down to positioning and how well they can stop this Claude from being able to jump onto the backline and use that blazing duet to take out both the MMs before a team fight really occurs. But I think if both sides are able to really use their full combo, then Claude definitely looking a lot more dangerous. But if both the MMs on the side of SGP Femm can keep out of range of that blazing duet, I think they should be fine. I think that is where they can really win most of that fight. But now we do see a little bit of a Tyrant's Rage onto the ball, and we're gonna see the smart missiles coming as well. Farsight is the target, and he will not walk away with either of them. In fact, they all walk out of there alive. Meanwhile, Esmeralda dropping really low. Uranus trying to stay on top of the Esmeralda. Better mirror image gonna allow Ricket to jump right into the fight, and this is where it's gonna be a lot dangerous. Blazing Duet comes out at the very last moment, but not enough damage, and in fact, Esmeralda will keep herself alive with the Cascade, and she will walk out of there. In fact, it is Finesse Empress that loses both the Claude and the Krufra. Really good coming up from Nika to keep herself alive in the entirety of the team fight. They managed to soak up a lot of this huge damage. You can see, the unstoppable force coming in from the Jawhead is trying to desperately land into either of Ray or rather Ray, Lei, and Joey. All three of them managing to survive that onslaught. Even though it was a really good Tyrant's Revenge into the Rage, and for the most part, I think it was just a little bit too. The fight was a little bit broken into two places, and Claude came in with ultimate a little bit too late. If Ricket was there to follow up with the blazing duet, that would have been an easy triple kill for her. But now we do see SGP Femm, they step up to the plate, they walk out of the team fight with their heads held high. They got 2 kills out of it. They follow up with another gank on the Uranus, and they should be able to get this tier 1 top side. Easy tier 1. Finesse Empress trying to put a little bit of pressure in the middle lane, knowing that they lost the tier 1 on the top side. So they do not walk away with it, although I don't think it's too much of an issue. They should be able to get this kill onto Popo and Koopa. Gonna use the ejector to stun her up as well. Meanwhile, Kufra, middle lane, uses the Tyrant's Reach as well to delay the take, but eventually going down. Not only that, SGP Femm will walk away with the tier 1 in the middle. Looking really happy with themselves. They also start up the turtle, which I think they should be able to get down in time before Finesse Empress contests this.
Initiate retreat. Initiate retreat.
Finesse Empress trying to make most of the situation by starting the tier 2 in the bottom lane, although Popo and Koopa will come in time to push the Jawhead away. Looks like both sides are just gonna go back to farming, although SGP Femm are more happy with the situation compared to Finesse Empress, who, like I said, I feel like they're on a timer because of the late game potential that SGP Femm has with the 2 MMs. Although, out of all 3 MMs, Claude definitely looking to be the most effective in a team fight. We saw that happen as well, but in a 1v1 against the Esmeralda, man, well played by Nika, who was a thorn in the Claude's neck. Even with the blazing duet being laid down, they didn't manage to bring the Esmeralda down because of the Stardust dance. And middle, a little bit of a team poke coming up from both sides.
Request backup.
And Mitsuha desperately trying to keep that tier 2 alive. Flicker coming up, I believe, coming for Yumiko, and look at the burst damage from the carry, instantly taking the Valor out. And Mitsuha might go down as well if she does commit to protecting this tier 2, which isn't really the best of idea. It's already half HP down, no way protecting it, and SGP Femm will walk away really happily. Although they lose tier 1, it is still a battle trait, or a better trait for SGP Femm. Pupa Koopa is still farming down the bot lane items wise. SGP Femm looking really dangerous. Koopa golden staff pretty much gonna be completed on that carry soon.
Initiate retreat.
Lightning belt completed on Ray. Finesse Empress, they are definitely. You gotta feel like the table has been turned onto them. Like the situation that they were in game 1 is what SGP Femms are in now, and you could see SGP Femm just feeling so comfortable with this draft. They got the ass murder, nothing really go against that. They got the carry in their lineup as well. You know, they got both the counter as well as the counter of the counter. So if that even makes sense, and now. This is where SGP Femm are looking to take over the game by storm. They didn't even really lose the early game, which, you know, in game 1 at least pressure on Finesse Empress, and SGP Femm must be really happy with their progress. They are above by 3k. And most of the major items are coming as well, and it's better for Ricket. Although I would have preferred for the golden stuff to be completed first, but just for the additional DPS, but that's gonna help with the cooldown. It's gonna help, you know, Blazing Duet to come down faster. You know, Blazing Duet. It's not only used in team fights, right? You can kind of use it in lane to flash farm. So that's really helpful for the Claude, and SGP Femm putting a little bit of pressure onto the Uranus kind of spots. The rotation from Mitsuha from the top to middle lane, and you can see for Finesse Empress, they're desperate to stop Finesse or the SGP Femm from taking this Lord, and hence why they are the 5-man gathering. But they do see that Popo and Koopa is clearing up the top lane, so they feel pretty confident with the Uranus to go to the top. So they're basically like mirroring what SGP Femm is doing as of now, and we're gonna see that Kurufa commit to the first one, Tyrant's revenge into the magic ball, but keeping that Tyrant's Rage for the team fight as murder, putting a little bit of pressure onto the Jawhead. Meanwhile, topside Ray against Mitsuha. We've seen how this goes. It's kind of a deadlock between these two players, although if this fight continues, Mitsuha is gonna take all this unnecessary damage from Ray. Ray just making use of the traps to make sure that she can kind of put her distance. And this is just a testament to how strong Uranus is as a hero. Look at that. Like, even with Ray's positioning and the damage output from, you know, her Popo and Koopa, it's still really hard to bring down Uranus. And they managed to isolate with the ejector coming out. They managed to bring down the Baxia. And this is a huge win for Finesse Empress, because if they want to go for the Lord, they actually can, or they can even group up as 5 now and kind of push in. Without the Baxia, there really isn't a frontliner. Yes, there's the Asmurder, but like I said, if they can lock her down with both the ejector and the stun coming up from the Kufra, then they might be able to win a huge team fight here. Mitsuha just desperately trying to push the top lane, while the rest of Finesse Empress trying to clear up the surrounding. I mean, Bucks is coming off in 7 seconds. They have to make a decision right now. Do they push or do they take the Lord? It looks like they want to take the Lord, but Bucks is already up and running. And they spot out the carry in the bot lane. Falling Star Moon coming up, but Ricket once again, the Blazing Duet not pick up anyone. And it looks like SGP Femm can turn the fight around. They managed to pick off the Valor as well as the Claude. And now Yumiko is left in a bad spot. They can't really contest for the Lord because they lost 2 members there. And I would kind of advise Finesse Empress to stay out of this fight. Just give the Lord away. They want to go for the steal. And they managed to get it with the smart missiles. And this is really looking to be a bad fight after all. They lose 2 more members in that, but at least they get the lot. I don't know. I feel like that's only gonna delay the push coming up from SGP Femm, because with 4 members on the death counter, not only can they get the tier 2, if they go really aggressive here, they can even force a tier 3. But I kind of respect that, you know, both the Claw as well as the Valor are up. You know, the fact that there's a lot coming in, there's, you know, gonna be 2 waves of super minions pushing down the lanes, so they kind of back off. They're just gonna clear up those waves. But still, SGP Fam doing a fantastic job there. I feel like Ricket's in a really bad position over in that fight. You can kind of see he's kind of forced to use that Blazing Duet. They were kind of jumping all over the place, trying to catch up whoever they can. And they should just probably stick to the game plan, right? Because you got Jawhead with the ejector. Just use the Jawhead to catch someone out and not really force the fight all over the place. Use all the combos to burst someone down. I think that's the best situation that they can have. But now with the Lord in the bottom end, they will pick up the tier 2 in the middle. So kind of a decent push coming up from Finesse Empress. I don't think they will get this tier 2 at the top side, because most of the heroes of SG Fam have already rotated. But Ring go away, gonna sacrifice her life to take the tier 2 in the bottom side. And despite losing, you know, despite losing that team fight as well as 2 extra members to secure the Lord, Finesse Empress still managed to cope 2 tier 2s in the middle and bot. But it's vital that they do not give up life there. Blazing Duet onto the back line. This is the Blazing Duet that they want. They managed to bring up Popo and Koopa, and not only that, they might be able to get Bucks here as well. Esmeralda jumping right in, but doesn't really have to support the rest of the teammates. Carry first immortality charge being burned away, and Joey's the only one left. They managed to bring her down as well, and Nika running for her life. Man, that was surprising given the fact that they didn't have Jawhead in the middle of all that fight. And this is what happens when they pull off the combo that they won. Despite not having the Jawhead there, you know, Ricket finding the opening when all of the members on the side of SGP Fem were grouped up. She goes in with the Blazing Duet, catches out Popo and Koopa, catches out the carry in a bad spot, and those are the 2 targets that's really vital for Finesse Empress to take out. As long as they can bring down both the carry and the Popo and Koopa, even if there's a threat of the Fasa, even if there's a threat of the Esmeralda, it's fine. Because when you look at Esmeralda's build, she's going for a sustain build instead of damage. She wants more sustain because she's holding up the fort alongside the Bugs here, and you know, that's what Finesse Empress can take advantage of. The fact that the Esmeralda doesn't really have too much damage. Yes, if they stay in the fight, the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Nika. But you could see the burst damage potential coming up for Finesse Empress through the Claw's Blazing Duet, through the Valor's burst fireball. And that was the dream team fight coming up for Finesse Empress. When all of the members of SGP Empress are all stuck on top of one another, that is where the threat kind of shows. And obviously we haven't really broke the fight into detail as well. We know there's the Tyrant's Revenge to set up into the Tyrant's Rage, and that's a huge CC that they managed to pull off in that very particular team fight. So a lot of threats coming up from Finesse Empress, and basically the only way to avoid all these wombo combos is, it's pretty simple, right? It seems simple on paper, but it's quite hard to execute, and that's for SGP Empress to just stay away from one another. Like, don't stack up like they did in the team fight, and they pretty much can win. Because if you look at most of the fights, right, in 1v1 situations where you got Popo and Koopa, you've got a carry, you've got Fasa, they got a lot of burst damage on single targets, and now this is where they can go once again onto Ring Go away in a bad position. They managed to bring her down, and you know, I think they can kind of go for the Lord. Ray forced to use Flicker again to keep a distance between her and the Uranus. Can they once again bring down? Oh, they managed to catch out the Fasa with the Tyrant's Revenge, but no follow-up there. And Uranus doing a good job as split pushing over to the top side. And As long as mana doesn't burn out, they should be fine. Yumiko taking a lot of damage, forced to use the flicker as well. And Joey playing very aggressively, trying to chase that Claude away. Simi is dropping really low. Mitsuha still pushing over to the top end. Now they can kind of group around Mitsuha, although she does have her ultimate. And she should be able to get away despite the harassment coming off the Baxia. Yeah, she's pretty much gonna use her ultimate as well, so Consecration gonna be on cooldown while the rest of SGP Femm gonna group up around the Lord once again. It looks to be a 5v5 fight, but Uranus Mitsuha just gonna split push and make sure that she puts pressure on SGP Femm. And that's gonna force Popo and Koopa once again to go to the top lane while the rest of SGP Femm are gonna defend against the Lord. Finesse, Empress, it feels like a deadlock at this point in time. Like both teams not really wanting to commit to a fight because they know that the next major team fight is pretty much going to decide the fate of this game. And they catch Joey in a bad position. They inject her as well to throw her into the backline, but they don't really have the follow-up action. Well, Tyrant's Rage there to stun up all three members, but can they keep the Claude alive? Yes, they can. Claude's not even in the middle of the fight, but the crew are first one to go down. Blazing the Duet onto the back line. They managed to bring down the Farsa, but there's not enough damage because the carry is going to town. He's going to bring down three members on her own, and that's a win, I would say, for SGP Femm, because all four members over the core are still alive for them. Popo and Koopa are still pushing on the top side. They managed to bring down the Valor, and eventually they will get this Lord. That was a resounding win from SGP Femm. And you gotta say, Joey with the positioning as well. Mitsuha wants to go for this Lord still, and SGP Femm making sure that that doesn't happen for a second time. Finesse Empress now gonna take that L in that fight. And for a moment I thought that was a good fight, but once again, you know, Riquette not in the fight where she should have been. That was a good time's revenge. But you know, if Riquette had been in the fight earlier with the Kufa alive to follow up with the Blazing Duet after a good Tyrant's Rage, that would have been a good situation. But you know, no follow up there, a little bit too late. You know, most of the members of SGP Femm have already broken up after killing the Kufa, and then, you know, it feels kind of forced coming from Riquette to follow up with the Blazing Duet. Did manage to pick up the Farsa, but you know, like I said in the previous team fight where, you know, we saw Finesse Empress win, the winning condition is to follow up that wombo combo. They need to follow up every single one of their ultimates really quickly before SGP Femm can kind of dissipate and, you know, not allow themselves to get caught up. But now Lord pushing down the middle, SGP Femm just putting so much pressure. They want to jump into this fight. They managed to trade, or rather they managed to bring down the Lord, but all the cores on the side of Finesse Empress are really low, and SGP Femm have already managed to take down tier 3 in the middle lane. They will walk away with the tier 3 on the top side as well. But a prolonged fight now occurring. Oh, Baxia being thrown backwards. And they do manage to bring down the Baxia. I think they should be able to defend against this tier 3 as well. Oh, really close there. Unstoppable force onto Koopa instead of Popo. And the Wolf will take the bait, and that's really vital, right? Because there's very little heroes can go through the Wolf, and you know, I think the only hero's ultimate which I can remember that kind of ignores the Wolf is actually Grengar's ultimate, Death Sonata, and that's a very important note because, you know, I've played with a lot of Popo and Koopa players, and they kind of hate playing against Grengar because of how his ultimate can just go through, and you know, Popo and Koopa isn't the I would say not really the tankiest of MMs. Like, it's kind of obvious there. So it's kind of nightmare to play against heroes that can go through the Wolf. Feather airstrike coming in from Lei to clear out the waves as well as keep Finesse Empress at a distance. So they kind of reset the fight, but the good thing for SGP Femm is now that they have taken the tier 3s on top and the middle lane. They can kind of wait for the waves, the super minion waves to push in while they kind of focus on the bottom side. And if they win a huge team fight here, which is really possible, we have seen that happen for them, they can just go for the end game. They don't really have to take tier 3 bottom, they can kind of push through the top and mid. So it's really important for Finesse Empress to get their game on, focus on a team fight here. Or rather focus on, you know, landing those combos that they want. We have seen them worked out, but it's gonna be even harder now that SGP Femm have managed to take in tier 3s. And this is kind of the issue when you go into the late game where this hyper carry comp coming up from the side of Finesse Emperor is not really playing out the way that they want to. Although it isn't really a hyper carry comp if you look at it. Like Vel is still a major damage dealer in the side of Finesse Empress. She's gone for mostly like damage items. Oh, they almost catch up Popo and Koopa, but she's gonna use her flicker once again to get herself out of the sticky situation. So Mitsuha is gonna feel free to chase her, but gonna make sure she doesn't step into a trap. Feather airstrike gonna come up. Yumiko more than happy to soak up the damage. I think it's good for them if they can take on the Basia here. They managed to get the stun and the Searing Torrent as well to push him against the wall. They desperately want to take him out. And Blazing Duet gonna come up as well. They try to keep Yumiko alive. Uranus gonna jump into the backline. And that is a good fight for Finesse Empress. But now they gotta go back and heal up before taking the Lord. SGP Femm, they know that without the Baksa they can go for it. Unstoppable Force onto Ray. They try to get the toss and the ejectors on the wrong target, but that doesn't matter. One more hit, they should be able to do the trick. Uranus gonna jump straight onto her, and without the Popo and Koopa, that's another major source of damage out. Joey uses the Wind of Nature, but she's already burned away one immortality charge. They jump on her again. Mitsuha against Joey, and Mitsuha knows that if she stays there for too long, she'll get taken out by those stacks, and they do brilliantly in the fight. But despite that, Finesse Empress, despite that good opening to take out the Baxia as well as Popo and Koopa, they still were not able to take down the carry. Though they should be happy with themselves, they did manage to burn off both charges of immortality on Joey. And with that out of the way, they can kind of reset the fight, you know, kind of wait to catch out either members on the side of SGP Femm again. They do spot the Bucks are going up top. I think they want to jump on Lei, Tyrant's Rage, or a Tyrant's Revenge. And they managed to isolate the Asmurder as well. If can Nika walk out there alive, it's vital that Nika stays alive. It looks like they know that the members on the side of SGP Femm are away. Jawhead nearly managed to win, or managed to get a kill to Joey. And this is the damage output coming out. They get the toss into the area. They use Revitalize as well. Meanwhile, middle, or around the Lord's Pit, Ray's the only MM that's there. They managed to secure the Lord with the Burst Fireball. They also bring down Nika, who has an Immortality charge. But more importantly, Ray has gone down to the Blazing Duet. Very messy fight across the maps from Finesse Empress, but they want to end game 2 quickly. They don't want to go to a game 3. And for a moment, SGP Femm, they look a little bit shook. And a good play coming off of Finesse Empress as well. They managed to catch the carry off guard at the top lane with the Jawhead. And now, they even managed to get the Lord. Popo and Koopa still on 10 seconds counter. Tyrant's Rage to bring the Baxia even further onto the backline. Nika desperately trying to stay alive while bringing down members on the side of Finesse Empress. Look at that. The damage output ejector to stun up the Baxia once again. And Rain go away will go down. But she does have the immortality charge. They want to end the game, but the backdoor protection just making sure the SGP fam stay on this. And Popo and Koopa up. They want to go for the chase. Joey, well aware that Raven Go Away is still a threat.
Initiate retreat.
And while they do not manage to take away the blue buff, they force the Baxia to pick it up, which means no blue buff for the carry, which I gotta say is a mini victory. At this point of time, whatever Finesse Empress can do to stop the carry from reaching that maximum power, which is both the red and the blue buff, I think that's really vital, because you know that's gonna definitely give the side of SGP Fam a huge advantage. And Finesse Empress, despite being in the lead for majority of the fight, they are now in a little bit of a trouble. Once again, the burst fireballs stunning up the Baxia. And most of these team fights have been possible because, you know, Finesse Empress have been able to, you know, catch someone out, be it, you know, the Asmurder, be it Ray who's playing on the Popo and Koopa, be it the Baxia. They have been able to burst someone down, and that's because of the Valor. The burst fireball slow as well as the stun once she gets 3 stacks on it has been really vital to them, and the fact that they have been able to do so is showing cracks in SGP Fem's armor. And now SGP Fem, despite, like I said, despite being in front for most of this game, they are facing this, you know, snowball, anti-snowball from Finesse Empress. They managed to claw those farm back. All the heroes now are pretty much max build. Cooldown boots, a little bit of a switch out, and they catch out another member in the middle. I don't think they're gonna follow up here. They managed to get the Tyrant's Rage, and it's really vital that they bring down the Claw. They managed to do so, but they trade out. Carry nearly going down there. One more hit, and they do manage to bring down the Jaw hit, which is the biggest threat to carry right now. And SGP Fam, huge death counter onto the Baxia, but look at that, they managed to bring down the carry as well as the Jawhead. They did manage to get the blue buff onto the Fasa. Both sides pretty much gonna reset the fight right now by SGP Fam. They should be able to get this lot, although it looks like Finesse Empress are not willing to give it up. They want to go for the wombo combo. They do not manage to steal away the lot, and now they are in a little bit of a bad spot. Mitsuha still trying to stick on Joey, and that feathered X strike will force Mitsuha to back off. And the Lord was super important for SGP Fam, because without the Lord, it's going to be really hard for them to actually push back the side of Finesse Empress. It looks like SGP Fam They want to take the team fight right now. They get the stun up. They managed to bring down the Krufa. And the Lord still at a quarter HP. Credits to Finesse Empress. They have been trying to hold the Lord outside the base. Feathered Airstrike coming up. Not really catching onto Wings. But without the Krufa, they don't really have a front line. The Uranus can kind of fill into that role. He's not the tankiest of heroes right now. Nika dropping really low and they want to force this GG. SGP Femm, they might have too much damage in the carry. They're slowly clearing it in, but the creeps have been cleared out. They managed to get the kill onto the Farsa. Next one to go down will be the Baxia Wings, forcing them back with the Searing Torrents. And Finesse Empress, they still hold on to this game. And not only that, they hold on to their tier 3 towers on the bottom side. And well played to Finesse Empress. They cling on to the slither of hope. Despite the Lord pushing in and despite losing the Krufa really early, it has all been possible through the play of Wings. With the burst fireball, you know, stunning them up. And then using the Searing Torrents to push them away, keeping the distance between them and the base. Without that, the base crystal would have definitely gone down there. And SGP Femm, you've got to feel a little bit of frustration in their play right now. They've been trying to be patient to find an opening. But that Valor is the big issue. They need to bring the Valor down. Without the Valor, they will be able to crack that base wide open. But for now, 35 minutes into the game, both sides looking pretty even. And even taking the red buff right now requires them to kind of make sure the Claude stays safe. Esmeralda in that bush. Not really wanting to use the Falling Star Moon without knowing where the rest of Finesse Empress are. And we're gonna spot out Esmeralda, and you can see the Finesse Empress are making sure that they maintain their vision. And interestingly enough, for those who have not noticed, Esmeralda hasn't died a single time in this game. We have seen her gone down, we have seen her burn immortality charges, but she has been able to stay alive. And on her record, she hasn't died a single time right now.
Launch attack.
And this Uranus constantly being a pain in the neck of SGP Femm, who despite hasn't been able to push down the top lane, she has been, you know, effectively making sure that SGP Femm puts one member on the top side just to push her away from getting tier 3 and preventing that super minion wave from pushing on the top side. So yeah, Finesse Empress and SGP Femm, it kind of looks like both sides, they finally found an even match on both ends. I'm not surprised if this goes way past 50 minutes. If neither side wants to commit or are able to find an opening.
Initiate retreat.
And we have even seen a change in the build for both teams, where, you know, we saw the Farsa actually go for the cooldown boot just to help with the cooldown reduction there. Uranus wants to go for the back door. They're trying to hold the side of Finesse Empress off. They get the stun onto the Baxia. Searing Torrents gotta push the carry and the Baxia away. And they don't really have the capability to bring down Uranus. That is the problem. But Searing Torrent, once again, Baxia dropping really low. But Joey's gonna make sure her tank stays up in this fight. And now Joey getting taken out. Misuha still healthy because of the ultimate.
Request backup.
Mitsuha trying to delay time as the rest of Finesse Empress
Initiate
managed to take up the Lord. That is a huge objective for them.
Initiate retreat. Initiate retreat.
And can SGP Femm manage to push the Lord back? Similarly to what we saw Finesse Empress did. Well, credit to them, they have quite a tanky lineup. I would say Asmarda and Baxia are pretty tanky, but it's not as tanky as Finesse Empress. So I'm a little bit worried for them. Can they actually push this wave back in the middle lane?
Request backup.
14 minutes in. Ooh, I'm on the edge of my seat right now. I'm really dying to find out who's gonna pick this game, because on one hand I really want SGP Femm to win, because this way we can go to a game 3. But Finesse Empress on the other side, they've put in so much effort to stay alive in this, and they really want to close their game out now, or to close this series out. They managed to get the tier 3 turret on the top side. And Uranus dropping really low. Tyrant's Rage, she gets just all 4 members, follow up by the Searing Torrent. But not only that, they're closing the game out. Too much burst damage. And with the Claw's help of the DPS, they managed to get this fight. It has been such a hard game for both sides. And I think this game went well past the 40-minute mark. Well, 40 minutes and 10 seconds. That's the longest game I think we have seen from any of the FSL games that I've casted so far. And, well, what can I say? Both teams were deserving of the win, but unfortunately, only one team could walk away with that, and that's going to be none other the Finesse Empress. And, boy, oh boy, these two teams, these girls have poured their heart and soul into this matchup, and I think, you know, commemoration to SGP Femm. They threw everything they could into the last team fight, but eventually, as Finesse Empress were able to hold on slot after lot after lot push, and you know, at the very end, they were able to even push into the base. And I think, you know, look at items wise, you know, it's pretty much the late game items. The Wind of Nature did definitely help Joey out a lot, especially when it came down to soaking up damage from Claude as well as the Blazing Duet. And, you know, for the most part, I think towards the later stage of the game, the Jaw hit became more of a threat against Joey compared to the Claude, where you saw, you know, when she's going in with the Unstoppable Force and the Smart Missiles, it did so much more damage against Joey, because she was trying to save that Wind of Nature for the Blazing Duet, and because of that, you know, Raymond Go-Away was able to find an opening in a lot of these fights. And I really hope that, really wish that we could bring these two teams into the finals, and it was definitely a finals worthy match there between these two teams. But unfortunately, we can only bring one, and it's gonna be Finesse Empress who proceeds into the next bracket. I don't know, will we see another game that's as close as those two teams? And I really enjoyed casting that match. My throat is dry, but that was definitely worth it. 40 minutes of non-stop action. From the first minute, you saw SGP Femm trying to put a lot of pressure. You know, Finesse Empress managing to get the first blood, and then, you know, SGP Femm just taking over the fight with the two MMs lined up. But at the end of the day, Finesse Empress, you gotta give credit to them, the never say die spirit. The fact that they managed to steal the Lord and then, you know, fend off 4 Lord pushes. I believe it was 3 Lord pushes from SGP Femm, and it was really vital that they stopped the Lord before coming to. And that was what I emphasized on a lot of my casts in other leagues as well and other tournaments, is that it's very important when you are on the back foot, right? When you're losing the game and the opponent has the Lord. I know it's going to be really hard, but you got to stop the Lord before it pushes into base, because you can see how dangerous it is, especially in that rare last team fight when Finesse Empress had the Lord pushed in, how difficult it was to defend. The moment the Lord pushes into your base, there are so many options for the side opponent to end the game there. They can either go for the backdoor, they can try to force a team fight which you are not prepared for, because you have to defend against the Lord. At the same time, you have to defense against 5 members of the opponent who's pushing in. And Finesse Empress, they did an absolute fantastic job at stopping the Lord before it went into their base. Yes, they managed to lose the Kufra, but because they had the Valor, they had the Searing Torrents, they were able to stop SGP Femm from pushing in and concluding that series there. But that being said, congratulations to Finesse Empress. They had a tough game, but at the end of the day, they walk away with that win, and they also proceed into the next bracket of the tournament. So congratulations to them, and obviously also like to give a big shout out to none other than SGP Femm, who did absolutely fantastic, but unfortunately just wasn't enough to stop. I think at this point you gotta say Finesse Empress, they are looking to be the favorites of the tournament. I haven't seen a team that has been so dominant so far, and despite being on the back foot, have been able to hold their opponents at length and still come back with an impressive win. And yeah, this is pretty much it. We will not be streaming any more games for today. We'll be streaming 2 more games tomorrow, and then on Friday, depending on where you guys are, we are going to be playing the game at 8 o'clock. That's plus 8 GMT, if I do believe, Singapore time that is, but it's the same time as the Philippines. So congratulations to all teams that made it through the first round. And on my part, I think that's pretty much about it. Once again, a big shout out to our sponsors and partners, Dreamcore, Super Solid, and Yahoo TV. And big shout out to you guys as well for sticking on the stream despite some of the technicalities that we faced. My name is Aries. I enjoyed casting today's game, and I will see you guys tomorrow.